Do you
Girl,
know what it feels like?
oh my God. I already want to punch you in the face. Oh my God. I love that people are just like, what the fuck is this episode already? And it just started. Are you proud of yourself? Like, by the way,
I'm very proud of myself,
that
always.
was I unexpected, very unprofessional.
Yeah, for anyone who wants to know what the fuck was going on there is this song that I annoy Bia with. It's from Enrique Iglesias and it's the ping pong song. I don't know how even that became the most annoying song ever, but
Because he
now
started
it's
singing it all the time. That's how, bitch.
But it's also now suddenly a sign from the universe towards me because when I was in the bridal store, the song came on. When I went to the tailor to get my dress fixed, the song was on and I was singing. I was like, oh my God, this is the universe talking to me.
I hope that
Oh,
never becomes a sign because I will literally die, smite my like spirit guides, and then come back to life and be like, absolutely not. I'm
don't
okay with the
test me.
butterfly. Yeah, I'm okay with the butterflies and angel numbers. Do not give me that song ever. Um, because if I saw what you or if I had that perspective, I would say then you're my sign, bitch. Because every time you're singing, it's like, okay, okay. But
Maybe
yeah.
I will just bind you to the song. I can do
Oh,
that
oh
too,
my
girl.
God. No. I will hunt you alive, bitch. Oh my God. No, because okay, now for real, I feel like you haven't been here for such a long time, which is kind
No,
of
I
crazy.
haven't.
Like I don't know when the last time was that you and I had a conversation on the podcast, and it kind of feels criminal because I've been inviting so many people and like you were just like, yeah. Talk to
Rude.
me. Yeah.
I think our last episode was on our friendship, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. That was like a year ago, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, so much has changed since then. I feel like in both our lives separately and our friendship, like it's just kind of cool to see that evolution as well, and so that they can also see it because a lot of them maybe they don't know you because there's a lot of new people coming in, but there's also a lot of people that are like very familiar with you. Like, let's face it,
Mhm.
usually like they know us both. It's like,
We
it's
are a
like
package deal.
yeah, it's like a package deal. So yeah, do you want to speak on that, like on the changes that you've been through for this entire year? I feel like we can start with that. So much has fucking changed in your life, and I just feel like you were in a completely different space before, and a lot of clarity came through, and I think that makes sense to, bring to this episode because ultimately, like, there was a reason why that clarity came through, and there was like a whole process and journey to getting there. So I'd love for you to speak a little bit on that.
Yeah, I think the last time I was on the podcast, I was on in my, I think I would identify it as the weakest, no, not the weakest, the most difficult time I had because I was moving through so many transitions. For those who don't know, I in 2022 I started to get coaching, mindset coaching from Jesse, from my coach, and so much has changed ever since then. I learned to not feel like an imposter in my life all the time. I learned how to build real confidence, real self-trust, and I knew that I always wanted a business, and I already had a business around I just started a business a year ago around that time to do tarot readings, and I was selling them on Etsy and it went well, but I wanted more. And so I remember earning around €500 every month on Etsy. And I was just like, how can I expand this? And I was looking for more. And that's how I rolled into becoming a mindset coach ultimately.
Mhm.
And although that was very cool, it's also the most lost I've ever felt because I wasn't really sticking to who I was. I completely let go of my spiritual side, even though mindset work is spiritual. I do believe that I let go of working with my guides, my deities,
Mhm.
doing any witchcraft or manifestation. I was only busy with the basic bitch package, I think. So really
Speak, sister.
yeah, so really only the not I wouldn't say love and light, but more like you need to level up and like manifest. And I was really into that
Yeah.
and really deep into how can I make more money and expand my business and get reach and really into this masculine place, which wasn't bad. It has served me definitely, and I've learned so much about myself. But in that time between then and last year, August, I never really felt like myself.
Yeah.
I never really felt like I was fully embracing my gifts, or I was fully where I needed to be guided towards in my journey of my business. And of course, my business is a reflection of my life and who I am. And so I was really looking for myself. And at one point, I remember I was meditating and someone or something told me, "Why are you pretending to be a coach when you're not?" And I was like, well,
Rude.
excuse me? Are you sure? And that really got me to think about how much I actually hated coaching, about how much joy I did have when I saw the girls that I was coaching evolve and have an impact in their life, but it never felt like I was making an impact, or it was never good enough for me. And so I kept being stuck in this cycle of needing validation and more and more and more and more. And I was continuously changing from shadow work coach to empowerment coach to confidence coach to money, you name it. I've been it all. And, and at one point, I just decided to stop. I told my coach back then, I'm gonna stop. I feel like I need a break for a full year. It was almost a full year. I think from somewhere in the, I don't know, whichever year, I decided to stop in August, and then I continued on in May or March, still wanting to be a coach. That again didn't really work out. And then having that message being there, why you're pretending to be a coach when you're not, made me really realize and have a different look on my life and who I am. And so I decided to really embrace the fact that I am a healer, even though I really did not want that for a long, long time. And being a healer felt very relieving, and it felt very validating. And I felt more confident in myself because as a healer, you get to decide how you want to serve other people. And I feel like coaching, yes, is also helping and serving other people, but it's also very much focused on the person who you are or who you need to become in order to attract the people who need to learn from you. And
Hmm.
I was only so deep into evolving myself, and I was lost in my shadows and doing so much mindset work. And then in that break, I started to fall back in love, and I back in love with my spiritual side. And I was picking up on working again with my deities. I was doing spell work again. I was starting to do a lot of reading, a lot of resting. That's when I decided to become a tarot reader again, but as a healer. So a healing tarot reader, which ultimately means that through my tarot readings that I deliver, now I do not do that on Etsy because Etsy is a fucking scam.
Yeah, it's
But
literally the shittiest place ever.
yes, for real. Now I
Canceled.
just absolutely. You take 6% of my what? Of my 20 euro? Are you fucking
Yeah.
dumb?
Yeah, you're making like people pay so much more because you're like taking so much out of like the purchase. It's like fucking annoying. I've never seen anything
Yeah,
like that. It's like abusive, to say the
it
least.
is. It really is. That's my money. Take your hands off my money.
Yeah, exactly, bitch.
Yeah. But yeah, I decided to be a healer tarot reader, which means that I am allowing myself to be a coach and a healer through the readings that I do. And I really started to combine that again with DD work. And I remember it feeling very edgy. That was again in August 2024. I was like, oh, I don't know. Do I really want this? This feels so far out of my comfort zone. And you were like, bitch, you are the bitch to go to about DD work. What the fuck are you doing? And I was like, yeah, that's true. And so I started to rebuild myself, build a connection with my most spiritual self, which I am now. And that's in that same moment, one of the friends that I met through a toxic coven, or actually cult, she reached out to me and she said, girl, so many people continuously ask me to do DD identification readings. And I know you are a very good reader, even though I'd never done readings for her. I was like, what do you mean? She said, let's collaborate. And from that collaboration, I think I really met myself or my soul where it wanted to be or go. And from then on, everything spiraled into the success that I have now.
Beautiful. I love that so, so much. Like, I really feel like you were on such a roller fucking coaster for such a long time. And I also think it's really beautiful to see that transformation in you, honestly. Like, it's very inspiring and empowering, both to me and I feel like everyone listening, because like The thing about coaching that I genuinely feel, because I feel like I also really needed to be like, yeah, no, this is not it. Because it makes you kind of like if it makes you want to force yourself to be something you're not. And you're always, in that like self work, like you're always doing the inner work, but it's really like you're almost like feeding into this belief like it's never enough. Like I'm never good enough. I need to get better. I need to do more. I need to and it's honestly suffocating. It's such a masculine energy and approach to like helping people. And it just doesn't feel good to us, right?
I think it's honestly very toxic, and I don't think a lot of people are willing to say that or speak their mind on it. But when you follow the big coaches, which we both have, you see them talk a lot about you need to continuously have a coach, you need to expand, you need to do this, you need to have that mindset, and this and that and this and that. And so I really felt like at one point coaching was just a way of continuously pushing myself down and really saying that who I was is not good enough, even though they were telling me, like, you need to embrace your level of expertise. But those are not the things that I understood or really wanted to. And so it was kind of like continuous a toxic cycle of seeing messages where you're being told that you're not good enough or not doing enough or you're not believing, and this is why people aren't buying from you. And so you think you have to do more and more and more and more. And you run so hard, you run 20 miles an hour, and you invest so much money in these people who promise you a transformation. But if that's not where you are supposed, not where you're not supposed to be, then it's just not going to work. And I think you're either naturally a coach and you help people, but yeah, either you're that really from a natural point of view, or you are on the other end of the spectrum and you help people through your own magic, which can be readings, podcasts, arts, poetry, all of those things.
Yeah.
And I think that should be much more expanded in the world of self healing, self transformation, mindset work. That's why I combine magic and mindset, because that is to me the golden combination. And magic is not just, oh, the magic you see with like the witch Sabrina and That's So Raven, where she's like, "Zing," and she has that vision. No, it's really you and what lights you up, because your magic is inside of you. And whether that is, like I said, through podcasting, doing tarot readings, making art, you're a writer, you are really good at teaching other people how to play tennis, that is your magic. And when you combine that and you feel really strong and secure in your own magic without consistently gaslighting yourself,
Mm.
you have a golden combination and you're going to be a fucking millionaire.
Period. Let's not forget that part. No, because I generally feel like the thing about coaching is that they're all kind of almost, and I don't think they do it like on purpose. It's not like they have, or I think most of them are generally just like, oh, this worked for me. So, like, I really want to speak on that. But I also think it creates this idea that, oh, this exact thing is what's going to work for me, or this, and it just makes you, like you said, it just makes you really want to like do it all. And ultimately you're not really listening to your truth, you're not really listening to what's authentic to you, and you're just like following these people because they're convincing you that like their ways is your way too, and it couldn't be further from the truth. And I think that's where the impact of spirituality comes from, because you can have all the mindset, but if you're putting that energy towards like something that is completely out of alignment, it's just not gonna fucking work. Because let's face it, like even when you were like super lost and blah blah, like you already had the mindset, like it was already there, like you already had the like knowledge to do the right things, but you just weren't fully there because you were not like in the right space, right? And I
Mm.
think when you shift it into like truly leaning into spirituality, coming back to those basic, that that kind of really was the start of our journey, both for you and me. And I also felt that, like I felt like for a long time, because I was like trying to fit onto this like coach hat, I was kind of just like really pushing that away. Like I literally went from having a full-on witch talk account to like not talking about witchcraft, not talking about blah blah blah, like not doing spells, not letting my candles, not talking to my deities and my spirit guides. And it was just like a complete disconnection because I felt like I needed to choose a part of myself. And now after like all these years, that it's already been years, I'm finally kind of coming back to that. It's like, whoa, like that changes everything because suddenly you're just not, you're not being guided by people who have their own, limits and their own beliefs and their own egos and their own blah, blah, blah. You're just like really tuning in to what's true to you and what's your path that you're meant to like go towards. I think that really changes how things end up unfolding and how much more open you become to like the best opportunities that are truly aligned with you. Because I feel like the hardest that it's ever been for both you and me, it was when we were very like disconnected from that authenticity. And when you're in that space, you're just trying to do it all and trying 1,000 different things and nothing is working, and it just keeps creating so much frustration, so much anger with yourself as well. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Why is it blah, blah, blah? And like once you start just fully dropping into your purpose and what feels true to you, it's just like all of that pressure kind of goes away and you can finally just, yeah, you feel more confident, you feel lighter because you know you're in your purpose and things just like flow so much differently, you know?
Yeah, and I think the big difference between being a coach and being a healer is a coach really guides you to through a process that they have been through, and they think that this is the best type of guidance that you get to receive. What it actually does is it can click in some ways, but a coach is consistently showing you what is not working in your life, what is not in alignment. So, as I've worked with various coaches, I can see that this being a money mindset coach didn't work out. Doing shadow work only also didn't work out. So, it was just all steps towards becoming who I am now. And a healer, on the other hand, really asks you to go deeper inside of yourself and find the answers there, while a coach is more focused on the results. A healer is actually seeing you, and I feel like coaches do not always see you.
Mm,
And as I can see and hear both in the spiritual realm, I can easily tell you, but why are you not working your magic around art? When is the last time you have made something that has really excited you? Why are you working this job when you're actually really wanting to do this? I can already see something that you may have been feeling but not have been acknowledging for
yeah.
yourself. And so a healer brings you back towards the full, towards point zero, where you go on a journey again to find who you really want to be. But coaches really work through all of these layers of shedding, and then eventually you find out where you are meant to go or where you are meant to be. And like I said, sometimes that means that you work with a coach that really helps you to evolve in one place, as in, for example, feeling very confident. And then from that confidence, you notice this actually doesn't work out. So I'm going to try this on my path. That didn't stick either. So let's try this. This did stick. And so you go through a whole cycle of looking for what your magic is, even though a healer invites you to find your own magic.
Mm. Yeah, I really feel that because it's like when you're working with a coach, it's a very like rational process, and they're, like you said, more focused on the result, like get this money, get this confidence, get all. While while a healer, like she's seeing deeper, like she's like, no, I want you to feel whole. I want you to like follow your path because I can feel what that like looks like for you. Like I have some like yeah, I just intuitively know that some things are going to help you unlock that, but ultimately it's going to be your journey and you're going to have to find your own way. And I think there's so much power in that. Like it can feel a bit more abstract for sure, but we're kind of already used to that shit. Um, but I do think that, yeah, coaching can feel very harsh, especially when you're lost. It can just feel like very harsh, unnecessarily so. And it
It's
might do,
very result focused. It's
yeah,
very, very result
yeah.
focused.
And I think it might do you more harm than good depending on where you are. Like if you're just following people because like, yeah, I really want to have more money. Yeah, I really want to like I feel like ultimately it's just feeding more of that, you know, not being in your authentic self. And that was something that I also needed to learn because, we were all following like all the coaches, all the people telling us, do this in your business, do that, do the, and it's so suffocating. It's so fucking suffocating. And I started doing everything but the things that I was really passionate about. You know what I mean? Like I started going everywhere. Like you said, like I was all types of coaches. And it just doesn't fucking work. And in the past few months, I started going like back to practicing with my deities, with my spirit team. And that was the biggest shift I've ever felt, you know? Like, sure, having certain, pieces of wisdom from all these coaches did help to a certain degree. Like, it gave me more knowledge. But without fully knowing where I'm supposed to go, that knowledge does not serve me, right? Like if I'm not in my authentic past, that knowledge is like useless. And so I really needed to drop into me, to my soul, to like, yeah, my spiritual side. I think that was such a big part of why things started unfolding for me as well, both in my actual path, but also internally. It just feels better because I know I'm in alignment with my purpose. And yeah, that just really shifts it for you, right?
Yeah, that did really shift for me. And I think this is not to say that if you do not know what you want, you cannot be a certain type of person. I think whatever you feel called to become or be, or what the energy you want to embody, is ultimately going to lead you to the place where you feel most at home, which will always be with yourself. And when you feel stable with yourself or secure and you know who you are, that doesn't mean that you need to have the biggest confidence in the world. It just means that you are continuously connecting back to what is most important, and that is you, your inner lights, your magic, and your most spiritual side. I think there's so much we can uncover in when we fully embrace who we are as spiritual beings, and we get to see the magic behind that, and the energy and the drive. Because of course a lot of people talk about the energy this and positivity that and the frequency, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't feel it in your body. And if you are, what I feel like the coaching was doing for me, it was really dimming my light. It was dimming away me from my most spiritual self. And that's ultimately because I didn't really feel safe to come out as a witch to most people, or to say that I communicated with deities, with gods and goddesses. And that was not a process that someone could have guided me through. That was my own doing. I needed to embrace that for myself, and that was only possible when I went inwards and became a little bit of my own high priestess to look for what my soul was really trying to tell me. And that can be this, the same thing can happen for you. Like for example, I have a membership where I guide witches in working with their deities. It's not like I'm consistently telling them I did this way, so you have to do it that way. Specifically with a lot of the witches in there having ADHD, I know that it doesn't work, and it's not similar because I do not have ADHD. So what I do is I tap into my higher self, my spiritual self. I tap into what feels good, and I really listen to myself without judgment, and then I give a lot of the examples that they need. And what I feel like with coaching, it's much, like I said, so result focused and not really focused on what do you need and are you really following a path that you love, that makes you feel good. And I think ultimately I was just trying to satisfy my coaches to show that I was making results or that I was following their advice, and
That
I
you're
wasn't
being a good
really,
student.
yeah, being a good student, being a good girl and daughter all over again,
Yeah,
and not
literally.
really following what was exciting me. But at the same time, what was exciting me was also the thing that I feared the most.
Mm. It's usually like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I genuinely think that this is so beautiful that we're, going into this. I feel like a lot of people who are on this journey of like personal development, personal growth, like manifesting their dreams, they're also kind of, mirroring the help they're looking for. They're really looking for someone to save them. And they're looking for like all the answers outside of themselves. And they're also like, if you think about it, they're also chasing results. So of course they would lean into someone. There's like, this is the result that you're gonna get. It kind of makes sense. But ultimately, then it just leaves them really unfulfilled. And I think a lot of them crave for something more, for something deeper. It's like a deeper connection that maybe they don't even understand exists. And I think that's what spirituality brings you, you know like deep spirituality, because all these things that we've talked about, like mindset and manifestation, like of course those things are spiritual to a certain degree, but it's almost like you have the like mind part of it, like the affirmations, the positive blah blah, but are you genuinely feeling, like you said, like your spirit? Like, are you connected to your most intimate self? Like, are you really listening to what's true to you and your intuition? Like, that's really when things start, yeah, just changing. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that. Like, if you're kind of starting to understand that the process of harshness and trying to meet certain goals and blah blah, just being like super goal oriented is not really working for you. For the people that are just really craving that like true guidance that can help them like connect to their authenticity and to the path of their soul, like what would you say could be important for them to get started?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think I'm just gonna channel a little bit into this. What I feel like what you are doing when you're very action or goal focused is that you are continuously chasing something. You're chasing a feeling, you are chasing a goal, you're chasing validation to make you feel more worthy or enough or deserving of whatever it is that you desire. What I think would really help you is if you would have gone back to the basis, where I know, Bia, you've talked a lot about the body, mind, and the soul. I really think that's where you should start. So, do you listen to the cues of your body? Do you continue going when your energy is actually drained? Because if you are, then there's no way that your intuition or any of the spirits can speak to you and tell you what to focus on and give you the guidance that you want, because you are running in a circle
Mm-hmm.
of looking for that validation, right? But when you pause and you listen to what your body needs and what your mind is telling you, and you actually see what is going on and what's happening inside of there, then you will walk on a path that will lead you towards your most authentic self. Because what I think a lot of people do is they aren't willing to sit with themselves and really ask, why am I doing this? Why do I want that? And why, where am I going with this? A lot of the times we set a goal because we see other people set the same goal and we think we need that same goal too. Or people have a 5 year plan, so I need to have a 5 year plan. What you actually need to do is stop. You actually just need to stop at in totality. What you're gonna do is you're gonna dedicate the next month or the next 2 weeks towards actually listening to yourself. So that means taking care of your body. Are you going to the bathroom on time? Or are you waiting until your bladder is like almost overflowing and you're peeing your pants? It means listening when your brain is telling you that you need rest or that you need to eat something or that you need to maybe go for a walk, because it's not like your brain is your enemy. Your brain is here to help you. We've just made it our enemy because we pay most attention to your limiting beliefs and your the stories that you end up telling yourself. But when you look at the stories you're telling yourself, you also get to realize, hey, this most of this is actually not true. And you get to change that story. And then the third part would be your soul. Ask your soul, what are you craving in life right now? Am I inviting in more excitement, or am I consistently avoiding something new and exciting or possibly changing? And is there something that I feel like I'm so passionate about, something that I can fill 500 books full with information about? And am I avoiding diving deeper into why I feel that way about this topic or this thing that you want to do, and do the work around that, because that is most likely where your most authentic self is. And I think your most authentic self, I think somehow in the process of becoming that person, you are just very scared of becoming that person because of the responsibility that goes with it.
Mm-hmm.
And not just the responsibility, but also the consequences. Consequences aren't negative, they aren't positive either. But when you decide that you want to maintain your inner peace, you're going to have to quit gossiping. Are you willing to quit gossiping? Because if you gossip, other people will gossip about you too. That's the energy that you attract. If you want to value giving your body the nutrition that it needs, and your friend keeps inviting you to McDonald's and you keep saying yes, you are disrespecting your body. If your soul and your heart is beating so fast because you want to go to this art class and you're ignoring it, you're neglecting yourself again. So
Mm-hmm.
it's starting to recognize the cues on body, mind, and soul level that will guide you towards your higher self, towards your most authentic self. And the cues that you are receiving are always nuggets towards the embodiment that you actually are becoming, right? Because you cannot become your authentic self at once. I think there are so many layers that we need to shed in
Yeah.
this process. But there, in each layer of yourself, is a nugget, a piece of truth that you really feel like that either no one knows this about you, or you feel like you could never explain this to someone because they would think you are crazy. Take a look at that, and why is that, and is that really true, or is that again a story that you're making up? Because we are so good at creating a story as if we are Lizzie McGuire about ourselves, and fully dive into this narrative of everyone hates me and nobody thinks I'm cool and I'm gonna die here alone and I could never be seen online because people will laugh at me. Bitch, that's not true. Nobody is gonna do that. Maybe there's one or two haters, yeah, of course, but is that really the sacrifice that you want to make of living a life that's not really yours, or do you really want to live a life that feels good to you? So whether you want to show up online or you want to sell your art in a gallery, it starts with listening to all the cues, which are just directions that your body, mind, and soul is giving you. Because when you do take proper care of yourself, and proper care doesn't just mean I'm washing my face, I'm brushing my teeth. It means forgiving yourself, having compassion for yourself, making space for yourself. Then your body and your minds and the spirits around you will continuously guide you on a path to where you don't even know existed right now. You might not even know that you can be super successful in the thing that you love the most because you are making up a story that no one is interested in that. But when you just follow the tiny little cues that your body, your mind, and your soul leaves for you, you are taking all of these breadcrumbs and you'll be eventually able to turn it into a piece of bread that is going to fulfill you and last longer for you. But when you are running so fast and you're continuously burning out because and you need breaks because you continuously feel overwhelmed and the anxiety is too much and the fear is eating you alive, you are not listening to what your body, mind, and soul is trying to tell you, because that will ultimately lead you to where you are supposed to go. And no one can tell you where you are supposed to go, who you are supposed to be. And they might give you a little piece of information for you to go there. But like I always do with my clients, I ask them, do you know why you're doing that? Why are you saying, I don't know? Why do you want to do that? What makes it feel good about you? How do you feel inside of yourself with this decision? And is it worth it to go for it, or is it not worth it to not go for it? What are the consequences? So be so curious about yourself. Like I said, why am I doing that? Why do I eat this when I want to eat something else? And it's not per se to say that you need this discipline, it's just listening. And I think we are not taught to listen to ourselves.
Mm.
And it's not just, again, the body, mind, and soul. It all ultimately starts with your body, because that includes everything. Your body is the mind and the soul, and the body, of course.
I love that, girl. That was some channeling right there.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. That was so, so beautiful. Thank you for that. I really feel like so much of what you said is really the key. I think we try to look for complicated solutions because deep down, like we are being moved by a complicated mind that is telling us like it's never enough. It's blah, 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 you need to do this, you need to do that. And a lot of times, like you said, like we're kind of walking towards goals that don't really fulfill us. We just kind of want to prove something to someone. We want to get that validation. Like, look at me, I finally made it. Like I'm successful. Like I'm all put together, blah blah. Like I think I was chasing that for so fucking long, like trying to prove to myself and to others that like I was successful and that I could make it. And and then when you drop into yourself, I think the power in that it's not just that you start listening to yourself. And I love what you said, that those cues that we receive from our body is those directions from the universe. It's like us being guided towards our higher self. It's us being guided towards our like most authentic self, and ultimately to our best life, to our best timeline.
I think it is what Mel Robbins says, which is responsibility is the ability to respond. And what you are responding to is what you are receiving from your body or your mind.
I love
And
that.
so you don't need to take more responsibility. You just need to listen to the
Mm.
little attention spans and the prickles that you are getting from your body.
Yeah. I think a lot of times like it scares people because it does require you to step into like something that you haven't stepped into before, you know, like even it might be easy, or it might look easy, like, you know, just implementing this like little thing or setting up a schedule or like doing whatever, right? But then for you, it's like, no, no, I don't want to go. Like, and that's where I feel like it's important to also know how to regulate yourself and like sit with the discomfort, because like there is going to be discomfort, you know, like you can't just bypass that. Like that's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And with what I'm doing now, the work I'm doing now is only possible because I allow myself to work through the fear. So what that means is I have known ever since I started doing witchcraft that I wanted to work with deities. That's the only thing that was really interesting me in this whole journey of witchcraft. Even though deity work is not per se part of witchcraft, it doesn't have to be. It is just how I was introduced to it. So just before anyone cancels me. But when I started doing DD work, I felt so at home and I was doing it so much and I was learning fast and I was going through tower moment after tower moment, which means that I was, breaking down habits that I had. I was letting go of old habits, goals that I had, things that I felt like I needed to do, how I needed to respond to the world, the daughter I needed to be, the girlfriend, all of the things I let go of it so that I could eventually rise and become my higher self or become my most authentic self. And throughout all those journeys, even though I was a mindset coach, behind the scenes, I was continuously talking to Bia about, oh, this happened in my DD work, or I was talking to my friends. I am now being guided by this person, or I am doing shadow work with this god or goddess. And so I was never shutting up about it. And I'm sure everyone has that little piece of that little thing that you love so deeply that you wish other people would see the exact same way from your eyes. And sometimes we are just too scared to own that, to fully own it and say, I am deciding to go for this right now. I am listening, I'm taking responsibility, and then you're dealing with the consequences. So, a consequence for me wanting to do this work was that I needed to come online and talk about one of my main guides, Lord Lucifer, which is seen as the Christian devil. And so I knew that I was going to receive so much backlash potentially.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, that didn't really happen. That didn't really happen. I didn't receive a lot of, negative attention or I mean, let's just be real. Haters are necessary because they keep the engagement going on your post.
Exactly, exactly. Like we need to think, who said it? I think it was Cardi B. And I want to thank my haters too, cuz they be downloading my stuff so they can hear and talk crap about it, but it benefits me.
Yes, exactly. It does benefit you. And so, but the more that and I sometimes still feel very on edge about it, about the posts that I make, and the
Mm,
more that I level up, the deeper the posts go. Um, but the more that I was creating content around him or around DD work in general, the more people were like, "Oh, you are so grounded in what you are teaching," and I feel so seen because I am not balls deep into the occult where I'm like, and this is not to put them all on one side of the spectrum, but I'm not here with the dark makeup and the jewelry and
yeah.
the crosses and the tattoos of like all the sigils that are out there in the world. No, I'm just a girl. And
Yeah.
I just and so is everyone else who is maybe dressed up that way, but I think I chose to become a representative for the normies, so
Yeah.
girls who look like me too, to practice the exact
Yeah,
same
yeah.
thing and not be scared of showing up like that. And so I receive messages very frequently from people who say, I listen to your podcast and I feel so seen and I'm working with him, or I just watch your posts, I binge all of your content. I really would like to work with him. Can you give me some tips? And that is how ultimately my success became reality of the things that I really wanted. And it became even bigger than that. But I needed to go through the discomfort first, which meant that I needed to feel how tense my body was and how angry my inner teenager was for being different again and not wanting to
Yeah.
fit in.
Why do you have to
And
be a weirdo?
Exactly. And really embracing that I am a witch and not hiding my statues when people come over and not avoiding talking about it.
Yeah.
These were all tiny little steps that I had to take to become my most authentic self,
Mm,
which is the person who is a witch, who talks about deities, who communicates with the old gods and goddesses, who does witchcraft. But, you can hate me, but I'm getting everything that I want because of I am doing what I love, and you are
yeah.
most likely not. That's why you are hating. And
Yeah.
so the consequence of that, what meant to say is, the consequence was for me that I needed to go beyond my fears, and that might be the same consequence that you need to do too. But that probably feels too much, and that's why you're avoiding doing the things that you love the most.
Yeah, I think that fear is usually what like really freezes us up and like kind of we create ways to like self-sabotage ourselves because we really don't want to lean into that fear. And I think that's the power in really learning how to sit with yourself through like all of it, through all the waves, the highs and lows of like your emotions and like your body because you stop rejecting the sensation of like fear. You stop rejecting the sensation of like anxiety or worry or like lack or contraction or whatever might come through because it will, when you are leaning into that authenticity, you're feeling really exposed, and that's normal because we're kind of told to hide our entire lives, and we're told to play small, and we're told blah blah. And I think it's so powerful when we decide to not be like that and to not really like have to fit into a box. I think that you being who you are and showing up how you're showing up on social media, I think it was also scary because you're not really like the witch person that you usually see on TikTok, with all the like dark room and the dark aesthetic. And I think that was also like why it felt edgy at times because it's like you almost want to become like a character of yourself. Like you want to fit into a specific persona. Like I think I was also like struggling a lot with that. Like I wanted to be seen as an it girl, but at the same time, I didn't want to be just a regular basic bitch it girl. Like I wanted to be my own unconventional self, and I wanted to be able to speak on really deep things and still be able to talk about stupid shit. I just wanted to bring all of me into it. And I think it's so scary at first, but then it's so worth it. And what you're saying about, just dealing with those consequences, it's so beautiful that you're going there because I kind of feel like that's been so alive for me right now with really taking responsibility for who I want to be. Like responding to those cues that I'm receiving of like, yeah, I'm really feeling like I need to lean towards this. I'm really feeling like I need to invest more time or money or whatever here. I really feel like I need to lean towards this discomfort. And it's scary, but like being able to be like, no, I'm gonna like take responsibility for this because this is my life and I want to choose myself in every way that I can. Like, I want to choose what's true to me because it never feels as good as that, like nothing ever feels more fulfilling than choosing yourself in like all these tiny things that end up becoming like your entire reality. Like you're able to build something so much more powerful, stronger, and beautiful when you're like leaning into that and you're not just like trying to glue things together because someone told you that you needed to use that and you needed to use this, and then you look at your castle and you're like, shit, I hate it. Like, like no, you're just like, it doesn't matter how long this takes, brick by brick, I'm gonna like build something meaningful to me. And like you feel more and more purpose with it with each brick that you like, put into that foundation. And I think it's so beautiful because we usually look for like the complicated answers, like I was saying before, but like the simplest answer is like it's all you, like it's all listening to you. And something that I kind of want to touch on is you usually don't listen to yourself and you don't listen to your spirit team because you're constantly like running, you're constantly on autopilot, you're like so into your routine that you forget that you have a say in it. Like something that I've been kind of relearning is like, I got free will, bitch. Like, what do you mean? Like, I literally have been like taught by the, God of free will. So what am I saying? It's like, oh, I have free will. Like I want to use that to my like best advantage. Like I want to make the most out of it. And when you look at it that way, it's like like you said, you stop and you're like, what the fuck, and you ask yourself the hard question. I think that's also what, like, we don't want to acknowledge that maybe we're not exactly where we're meant to be. We just want to keep going because we think like, oh, if I do more, if I run faster, if I like blah blah blah, then I'm gonna get there. But then it's like feeling terrible, horrible, like completely, soul draining the entire way. And it's like, it's not supposed to feel that way. Usually that's a cue that something is out of alignment. And when you come back to yourself, when you take a breather, when you like step outside of that, it's like you see so much clearly, you see so clearly. And that's when you're able to also like find the answer within you of like, okay, what actually feels alive for me? Like, where do I need to move next? Where do I need to move to next? Like, what is the next right thing to do? And you're not too focused on like getting into a goal and getting the 10K and it's like, that's inevitable. Like, that's inevitable. Point period.
Period.
Like, it doesn't like, I don't need to focus on that. What inspires me? Like, what do I want to create in my life? Like, what does my rich life look like? What does my most fulfilling life look like? And how can I like follow those like breadcrumbs through, leaning into the things I love, leading into the things that inspire me, and continuing to like follow that. I feel like you want to say something. Go.
Yeah, I do. I think it even starts with the smaller things because right now you might be like, oh my God, that's so much information. And like, where do I
Yeah.
start? Start with, like Bia said, slowing down. We're going brick by brick. So that means you wake up and you ask yourself, do I need water first or do I want to take a shower? And then listen to that cue and follow it. When
Mm,
you're shopping and you know that you actually want to create a wardrobe full of color because you love color, but now you're dressing only in black, then ask yourself, do I want this or am I going for a different color? It's kind of like the decision of I'm in a city and I see this top and I really want to buy it, but might be a bit expensive. If I go home, will I regret not buying it?
mm,
Yes. Okay, so I'm buying it for myself right now without the regret, of course, without needing to contemplate this. So, do I really feel like I can right now like I need to do more at this moment, or is it actually better if I go outside for a little bit and go for a walk?
yeah.
And all these tinier steps, these are just a little cement that's creating the brick, and then you will create bricks with foundations that help you make easier decisions. And when you do this brick by brick, you also will know ultimately that, oh, actually this might now feel hard, but I've made already so many hard decisions before. I'm continuously listening and now this feels so good in my body to do. I am choosing, just like I'm choosing every morning, if I want to drink some water, if I want to drink some tea, if I want to eat in for dinner, or if I want to eat out, if I need some excitement or if I need some rest, instead of running after the things that you want so badly. Because like I said, that's kind of, you're trying to prove to yourself that you need all of those things in order to feel more whole or need
Mm,
to feel more worthy, or this next big thing is going to help you find your purpose. No, you slow down, and slowing down is not just through meditation or visualization. It starts with the small, small, small questions.
yeah, I love that. What you were saying about like, I think people really do search for wholeness outside of themselves. And the craziest thing is like, you're always whole. Like, you're already whole. You just don't see it because you're so focused on like getting that outside of you. But then stopping, which is can be really hard when you're like told all your life, like hustle, 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 go, 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 like never stop. But when you stop, it's like, oh, I'm already whole. Like, I'm already here. Like, everything is fine. Like, I'm not dying. I'm not like being chased by a bear or whatever. Like, it's actually like I'm safe. I'm okay. I'm good. I think it's from that wholeness that we end up like being able to follow those breadcrumbs, because we are actually like listening. We're not like trying to chase anything. We're just listening to the wholeness that already exists. And so by sitting with that wholeness, it's almost like we continue to follow that wholeness externally then, and we create more of that um wholeness supply, let's say. Like, we continue to fill our cups from that place of, I'm already enough. Like, I'm already exactly where I'm meant to be. Like, everything is good right now. Like, I'm safe. I think that was like a big thing for me. It's like every time, and this is something that I kind of noticed, like every time I start feeling that like anxiousness, that like agitation within me of like, no, I need to do more, I need to go, and like that was exactly when I need to stop, slow the fuck down, and be like, oh yeah, I forgot to breathe. Like, I forgot to just be here with myself, because as soon as you are with yourself, it's like, yeah, I'm okay, I'm good. And
Yeah.
that automatically like opens you up, kind of clears the way for you to see what you're really meant to lean into, you know?
Yeah.
And on
And
that, Go, go, go.
It actually reminds me of something that I do in meditation quite often when I create a meditation for other people is I ask three questions. Like of course we have the basics of are you sitting comfortably? Is your jaw unclenched? Is your tongue off the roof of your mouth? Because actually having your tongue on the roof of your mouth means you're consistently going, 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 and your natural state of your tongue is at the bottom of your mouth. Then I ask, take the longest exhale you have done all day because you can exhale much further than you are doing right now. And that actually helps you, your body recognize that you are safe and that you're not being chased by a mountain lion, as my coach always says, because we still have the same nervous system as the first people on earth, but we are no longer always in danger. And the last thing that I always say is, can you feel your heartbeat for the first time today? Because how many times does your heart beat in a day? I have no fucking clue. But how many times do you actually feel your heartbeat beating?
Hmm.
And when you pay attention to that, you're automatically already slowing down. And that leaves so much space for your intuition, for your spirit guides, for your deities to come through, but also for your higher self to speak to you and say, this is what you're going to do now. This works best for you. So something that I do every single week is I speak to myself from a year ago and I say, this is what you're going to do now, because I know that me next year does the exact same thing. And so, yes, I can never become the person who I was. And yes, time doesn't exist. So this is just reaffirming to myself, to all the versions that I have been, that we are doing the thing that is most logic for our path, that is working out for us. And it's giving myself the validation, even if it's my higher self right now or to a past version of me, it's giving the validation that we ultimately need the most, and that is self validation. That was super Dutch. Self validation.
I mean, you are Netherlandian, you know what I mean?
I'm not Netherlandian, I'm Dutch.
No, I really love that. I really love that girl. And I think that yeah, leaning into that, to the quiet, to the presence, like you're saying, like noticing yourself. That's something that I've been really like leaning into, like the art of noticing, noticing yourself, noticing what's going on within you, and just like being with that, staying with that. That is so powerful. And then I also want to get into the power of like not just doing this by yourself, because I do feel like it can become overwhelming when you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do next? And sure, it gets much easier when you're like just tapping into you, like, creating more silence and pause in your life. But then I think there's something so beautiful about also having that guidance, not just from coaches or from like people out there, but from your spiritual team, for like from the people who have literally people, quote unquote, that have been here since you were fucking born, even before that, that are literally like belong to everyone, and they're literally here to help you out. And I feel like it's so powerful when you also lean into it, because it kind of creates that feeling that first of all you're not alone, like you are being guided, you are being supported, and the more you lean to it, the more supported you feel, which I think is very like reassuring, and like yeah, just like really helps you, especially like as a woman, as a feminine bitch, I think it helps you kind of surrender and lean back a little bit, because like you're not on this on your own, and that personally helped me so much. Like when I started getting back to working with Hecate, which is, well, I consider her kind of like the goddess of witchcraft, the goddess of like the crossroads, the torchbearer, like the gatekeeper. There's so many names that she goes by, but like literally like an entire, list. Um, but I feel like she has been really helping me with just staying grounded and present, and ultimately listening to myself, and she's kind of like guiding me here and there, like giving me a little push, giving me a little hint, giving me like, ultimately of course I have to do the work myself, but it did really help me feel that support. And I know you're kind of an expert on that, so I really would love for you to talk about it. Like how much of a difference did that make in your journey? Because I know you were so fucking lost, like so fucking overwhelmed, but I think leaning into that in that period that you were like, the most leaning into spirituality after being so disconnected for a while, I think that really helped you. So like I would love for you to talk about it, because I think a lot of people are looking for that type of support, but they don't know it.
Yeah, as you were talking, I was reminded of a video that I saw from Bashar. You know the guy.
Who's it?
Bashar is basically a entity who is being channeled by a guy named Daryl, and he spreads a lot of wisdom through by channeling. So he goes to conferences and then people get to ask questions, okay? That's not important. But he said, everyone, when you get on earth, each and every one of you, every convicted felon, every mother, every child has a spirit team that is supporting you to go through the life lessons that you have to learn while your soul is currently experiencing earth. He said, if you are convincing yourself that you are lonely, your spirit team will help you to convince yourself that you are lonely too. They will pull their hands away, they will make it seem like they aren't there anymore because that is what you choose to believe.
Mm.
So, even in those times where you feel like you're really alone, you are still surrounded by your spirit guides, but your spirit guides are just allowing you to feel really alone. But you never really are. And so I think for me, I started working with spirit guides in the beginning, and that is so addictive. I
Yeah, I
cannot
will never
stop saying
stop.
that.
Yeah, I know.
Never. Yeah, I started working with them. I specifically started working with Archangel Uriel, and he showed me really the book of, well, he showed me a book of something, and we were very in a place very deep in the universe. And he was telling me how we all have spirit guides and how these people are all related to us and how they sometimes even have been humans who are now ascended masters and
Hmm.
exist of archangels, etc., etc. And then as I was progressing and I did feel a connection with spirit guides, but if you work with them, you know that they are a little bit more mysterious. They don't give you immediate answers. They might not immediately point you or guide you towards the work
Yeah,
that you're supposed to be doing. So
definitely.
I got into deity work. And when I was deity work ultimately is working with the ancient gods and goddesses. So the Greek gods, Norse, Celtic, Egyptian, the infernals. And when I called upon a couple of them, I got such clear answers and such clear
Yeah.
results that I felt so seen through the prayer that I ultimately did. Now, I have never prayed to God, to Christian God, so I cannot say, oh, they responded when he didn't. So I will not say that. But they responded so loud and clearly through my dreams, through signs that I was seeing in the middle of the street. I was like, whoa, what the fuck is happening
Yeah,
here?
it's actually insane.
Yeah, and so when I started to doing meditations with them, and I will go specifically into the work that I did with Hecate, I started to get these really deep downloads of information of what I needed to do. So my very first meditation was with Lord Lucifer, and he told me we have to start working on cutting energetic ties with your father. And I do not talk with my father anymore because of many reasons, but he helped me to let go of the energetic cords, which ultimately was determining for myself if I was worthy of attention or not. And
Mm.
that really sets a whole journey loose of like really
Yeah.
giving myself the attention that I needed. And when I was so lost as a coach and really turned towards the more healer side, I started working with Hecate, specifically Propolaya, who is the goddess of the torches, if I am correct. She
Mm.
guides you with the torches on your path. So she
Yeah.
meets you at the crossroads where you always feel a little stuck or you're not really sure where to go to in which direction, and she will help you figure out which direction is best for you. So, no, she will not tell you what to do.
Yeah.
She will not tell you which direction is best for you. She will give you the insight that you need at the crossroads to make a well informed decision of what you want to do.
Mm.
And every time I was doing inner work with her, so shadow work or journaling, or I was meditating with her, she would point her finger towards things that I was neglecting, avoiding, or things that I didn't see in general. And
Yeah.
as I was uncovering all of these pieces, I was able to make a clearer judgment from a place of this feels really good to me. And she never said to me, that is a good decision or that is a bad decision. She always asked, does it feel good? Does it make you excited? Does it even bring you a little bit of fear? Because that's, I think, the way she says that you're doing a good thing. And I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. And then she says, go ahead. go right ahead, go past beyond the crossroads, whether you go left, right, or you move ahead. It doesn't matter. That's your decision. It will ultimately lead you to where you are supposed to go anyways. It's just that the path might look a little different. So
Yeah.
you might now decide that you're going to be a coach like I did, and ultimately when you are met at the other side of the crossroad, you realize, fuck, I'm actually just a really good, cool Reiki healer, and I
Mhm.
really want to do that for the rest of my life. And then you go beyond the crossroads, and that's when I always feel like Hecate leaves you alone a little bit. Now you are figuring out your own path in your own timing.
Yeah.
She's there to guide you, she's there to help you when you need it, but she will meet you at the next crossroad. But we will never know how far the next crossroad is,
Yeah.
and that we will see her when we will see her. There's
Yeah.
no way you can ignore Hecate, because she is just such a clear communicative
Yeah.
goddess, with all of her mystery, because she is so much, she's so many epithets. Um, she can go from the goddess of the keys towards the crossroads, towards the torchbearer,
Yeah.
the goddesses of ghosts, dogs, and
She
all
has
of these
so
things.
many like yeah, versions of
She
herself.
has so many versions and epithets, which means she has so much wisdom that can help you, guide you towards where you are supposed to go. And if you do not have the need to, for example, have paid guidance from a coach or from a healer, this working with a guide on your path can really help you find the answers that you need.
Yeah.
It will help you to become a complete different person than you was before, because they do see your highest potential,
Yeah.
and they can guide you towards that potential. And I feel like when you are walking past the crossroads, again, so many more possibilities open up. You're not walking a straight line. There are so many more ways and so many more decisions, but you're making a decision that feels good and is logical to you. And when you have that support and that guidance from a deity or a spirit guide or an angel, whatever the fuck you love, then it just makes it so much, you feel so supported. You really
Yeah.
feel like someone is in your back pocket who loves you
Yeah,
unconditionally,
there's
who,
the love.
yeah, who loves you, who sees you, and who really hears you. Is also not scared to call you out on your bullshit. And that is what I think everyone personally needs.
Yeah, and that's really unconditional love at its best. Like, like the no bullshit method, definitely very important. I feel like the reason why I love working with Hecate, the reason why she kind of like just appeared. It was so funny because like I haven't worked with her like in literally forever. And suddenly I was reminded that I had a poster of her, and I just felt called to put like I've literally had this poster like just hiding like inside my closet for like ages because I was just not feeling like putting it up. And suddenly I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna put it up. And like a week later, I'm suddenly starting to work with her, 24/7. Like she's like really into helping me out and like guiding me, and like I'm doing tarot readings and meditation and blah, blah, blah. And I know that it came exactly when it was needed. Like she really helped me figure out a lot of the things that, the blind spots about what was the path that felt most aligned for me. And what I love about Hecate is that she is, like you said, so much more clear. Whereas, for example, with Lucifer, I feel like it's always a bit more hard to understand. He's just like, yeah, he just like, gives like these enigmatic, is that the word, answers? And he's just like, yeah, this. And you're like, what the fuck does that mean? No.
I think I think Lord Lucifer will give you the depth that you are willing to dive into.
Yeah.
And when he sees that you're actually not really ready, he will just let you boil in your own
Yeah,
tears.
I know, I know. No, but I love him. I love him. I'm not trying to shit on him at all. Like it's
No,
just
absolutely
funny.
not, because he will very much remind you where you are leaving your free will behind and where you're
No, I
making
know.
decisions to please other people. Yeah, he's incredible. But like you said, his guidance is very, very different from
Very.
Hecate. And Hecate's guidance is also very, very different when you work with the Egyptians gods or with Loki, who is much more focused on chaos and having more fun and freedom in
Yeah,
your life. And
fun. That's the first word that comes to mind.
exactly. And Hecate really guides you to your highest potential that
Yeah.
you are not currently seeing. And
Yeah.
that is why she's the ultimate death and rebirth goddess, because she
Yeah.
can open doors to a whole new life.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay. Uh no, but I really feel that, because Lucifer helped me in a completely different stage of my life, especially through like the breakup. Like he really helped me finally like see how bad it was. Like he really helped me kind of gain back the power. I think he was the deity who really like taught me how to like guide myself, because I know in the beginning of like my practice and working with spirit guides, and that's also the thing, like you almost want to always get the answers from them, and that's not the goal. Like the goal is for you to find the answers within yourself. But at first, especially with like all these tools like tarot and blah blah, like I was always like pulling cards. Like, should I wear this dress or should I wear that thing? And it was like, let me pull the cards to see. And you kind of become dependent on it. And I think with Lucifer, like he really helped me to like be my own guide, to like be my own, to tap into my inner wisdom and to lead myself, to use my free will, to like make decisions on my own. Like he really empowered me in that way. And I think like that's why nowadays he barely works with me. He's just like sitting in the corner, not really sitting. He's always standing like the emoji, standing in the corner, and just like, checking out here and there how I am. And I'm just like, yeah, still here. Like sometimes I kind of miss his energy, but I know it's just like, part of the process.
Yeah, he really guides you through your shadows, and I think there are seasons of shadow work, and there are seasons when you're actually just supposed to do the work and not really sit with all the things that you're going through.
Yeah.
And I think Hecate, she really is such a intense energy who makes things possible for you. So
Hmm.
if you really struggle with, you want to embrace your inner artist and you want to start selling art, but you don't feel confident, like I did. I started working with her. I've worked with her now for 2 years. I work in cycles of 6 months with her for some reason. And so the last cycle started in October last year. That is the moment that I started to accept myself as a person who talks a lot about deity work. But there came so much more work with doing that. She guided me through all of those processes in feeling more confident, in starting my membership, in charging more money, in trusting myself with all the messages, in learning more about her and all of these things, and putting out every piece of content. It was well formed and thought of with her guidance. And then after 6 months, so last at the end of March, time was up, and I
Yeah.
was already doing everything that she taught me, because there's always a moment where she's like bridging the gap of like, are you doing actually what I said that you should focus on, and are you really listening to your own inner guidance again?
Yeah.
And then she's like, you know what, you don't need me right now. I will be in
Yeah.
the background for when you do need my guidance. And I do agree with you, we don't always need a deity to tell us what to do, where to go, and we can absolutely figure everything out by ourselves. But I think when you do it with guides, it's just so much more powerful.
Yeah, it is. And it just kind of, I don't know, it really makes you feel a different way because we're like relatively small when you think about the universe, like we're like tiny little things in the like big ass universe. And I feel like we just tap into a different level of bigness, and just I don't know how to explain. Like we kind of like tap into something greater than ourselves. And I think that's ultimately like what we want. I think all of us want to create some type of like higher meaning in our lives. I think for a long time before leaning into spirituality, like even before witchcraft, like before all of that, I was so lost in my life because like all I could see was like the quote unquote 3D reality of like going to work, going to school, blah blah, and I need to get money, like so fucking boring, first of all. But secondly, it's like it just feels so out of like it just feels so disconnected, because there's no like essence there. And what I love about deity work specifically, because I don't really work with my guides, like I kind of just ask them for like protection here and there or whatever, but like it's not because what you said, I feel like they're more like in the back. Yeah, they don't like help you in the same way. Like deities are much more like hands-on with the work that they do with you. Like I've worked with Persephone for self-love, for example, for like I don't know, I think it was like around 6 months or something like that, where she was like really with me, like doing self-love work, doing self-love spell, like all of it. And then suddenly she does like I've never worked with her again. I also feel like Hecate and Lucifer are kind of like the gatekeepers of my practice, and they like lean me towards like where I need to go, or they like kind of send me the support that I need. But something that I remember that you said here, but also said to me, it's like you're trying to do it all alone, so they're helping you, like they're letting you do it, they're like continuing to recreate that like lonely feeling that you're getting because that's what you're choosing. Because that's the thing, like deities, what I love about it is that they, honor your free will. And sometimes it might be an unconscious free will, but it's still your free will to choose to like, self sabotage or like be lonely and like do it all alone because maybe you're used to that. And I think I was definitely used to like trying to figure it all out on my own. And I really needed to remind myself, like, I get to be supported and I want to be supported. And I started asking for that support more. I was literally like, kind of praying to them a little because it's not like a full on father all blah 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 blah, like it's not like that. It's kind of just like I talk to them out loud, and I just asked for more guidance and more support, and suddenly like she started showing up so much more in my practice and really like helping me lean into like what felt true to me. It's like, yeah, when I feel like I need that extra guidance, I just ask. I just it feels really supportive for even for my nervous system. I feel like to not always have to figure it out all out on my own. It just feels relaxing to know that like I'm not in this alone. Like there's other people, quote unquote people, looking out for me. There's like a whole bigger picture that I might not see, but I know like I'm being guided. And I think that just feels different than always trying to figure it all out and trying to come up with all the answers on your own. And it allows you to also surrender more easily, I feel like.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think it's such a beautiful way of also showing your self love. And something that I wanted to talk about what you said, like I do believe we are part of a higher, what do you want to call it? Like mission or
Mission.
vision
Oh my
or
God. That was exactly the word, like the higher mission. Yeah.
yeah. And when you think there, yes, there are a lot of humans on earth right now, and yet we all have a soul. And I do believe that there's more that our soul learns every time it goes to earth. And you are here at this exact timing because there's something you need to learn. Doesn't make you more special, but the fact that you are getting the help because they know what you are here to do, and you are actually just fucking around and finding out like what the fuck do I want, what do I do in this life, and what's my purpose.
Yeah.
They know, they have spoken with your soul knows exactly what it wants to do. But when you go, I do believe in this, when you go to earth you forget,
Yeah,
you simply
100%.
just forget everything, and you have to relearn and really feel all the feelings that your soul is just not able to feel or learn about when it's not on earth.
Yeah, because the thing about Earth is like it's all about practicing, it's all about integrating. Like you might already know everything. Like if you came down to earth and you knew everything, like it just wouldn't actually create the like transformation that like would help you expand. Because what I feel is, like you said, like we really come here to learn, because ultimately I think the nature of the universe is to expand, like
Yeah.
in every way, expand in consciousness. Like the infinite is becoming more infinite, and I think that's like what we desire. We desire to like gain even more consciousness. Why? I don't know, don't ask me, but I don't need to know. But the point is, we come here with a greater mission, both for ourselves. And the thing is, when we are in that, when we step forward into that mission, I think we also like help the collective. And I think there's just something so much greater than like, just you doing your 9 to 5, feeling unfulfilled, like paying your bills. Like there's so much more outside of that. Like I'm not saying that you need to move into the forest and like grow your own food, of course not. But like it's like there's something greater and you feel it. That's the thing. Like since we were kids, like that's when we usually are the most connected before we get back into it, because we don't have like those inhibitions. We haven't had that all that conditioning like sent to us. And so what happens is we feel so freely, we express so freely, like we don't have all of those, yeah, things like getting us stuck. And like we have that aliveness in us. And I think instead of trying to like figure out all these things through our goals and through like reaching a certain status or whatever, it's like how can I get back to that, like to that freedom, freedom of creating what I want, freedom of being who I want to be, freedom of like expressing myself. It's like it's called free will for a reason, because it's free. It's like it's ultimately it's all about being free in your expression. And I think when you tap into that, you really kind of, yeah, you don't only expand for you, and you don't only like create a mission for you. It's not just about you being a millionaire, it's about like what that is going to mean to the world as well. And I think that's why ultimately we are being guided by, you know, our spirit guides, is because we're all working on this together. You know, we're all in this together. Like I really feel that like they're working as hard as we are. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
they're literally like, especially if you're not listening, they're just like, damn, I really want this bitch to listen. Like, what the fuck do I do? And they're like out here trying to send feathers and like angel numbers. And you're like, oh my God, what does that mean? And you're like, yeah, you're not listening. And so I think the best way for you to listen is for you to tap into yourself, because you are the channel, right? Like you can receive all the signs in the fucking world. If you're not listening, it's not gonna click, it's not gonna like make sense. And this to say, I really think that we come here to like learn all these lessons and expand, and that takes us integrating. So if we're always like moving and we're always like trying to do things, we don't have enough time to integrate the things that we're learning. Because I feel like a lot of people that are listening, like they already know certain things, you know, like
Mhm.
logically they already understand, like they already have been like listening to podcasts or reading books or like watching other people talk about whatever, but they haven't like had the time to fully integrate. And I think that's what like deity work, for example, helps you do. It's like they don't only give you the lessons, that they're gonna like put you in the place where you know you're gonna have to like, you know, really lean into integrating it. Like when Lucifer was in my life, like I had to lean into the hardest things ever. Like I really had to go through the work. Like I had to do it, you know? And it was, I remember when I started working with Lucifer, I was just like, do I really want to do this? Like, am I really going to accept your proposal? Which, by the way, you initiated me into it. Like, you were literally the person who introduced me to Lucifer. I thought I was working with Apollo, and you were like, actually, that was Lucifer. And I'm like, what? I'm working with the devil.
Yeah, that's my work with him. My work is to help other people initiate to him and make him known. And when I learned that, I was like, what the fuck? I don't want to do that. I absolutely don't know how to do that. How the fuck do I do that? And it just started to happen with the people close by, or the people that I was close with back then. So I've always been close with you, but also other
Yes.
people that I've really connected to him. And then with the whole mindset thing, learning all about that, I took a break of it. And now going back after since October, I am so much more on a bigger scale helping people connect with him or learn about him. That is part of my mission, why I work so closely with him. And that's not to say that there's always a mission when you work with the deity. It's ultimately about you, because when I connect you with Lord Lucifer, you are going to change your life by working with him,
Yeah.
but you might have the same effect on the next person and on the next person and on the
Yeah.
next person. So that is where we really ultimately help the collective in reminding yourself of free will, that you have to take care of yourself, that you
Yeah.
are have dreams, that you have desires, that you can chase and attract the things that you really want, and that you are not stuck where you are, that you are just following the rules that have been set by society, but that's not who you ultimately are, want to be, should become, or need to be.
Yeah, you get to make that decision, and that's all of, that's what I love the most about deity work. Like they help you choose what you've always wanted, like, without bullshit, without it. They just help you lean into where you've always wanted to go, and they give you that extra push. And I also want to say, you know, this mission talk that we have, it's like you don't have to be Mother Teresa. Like we don't I don't think, absolutely not. Like let's face it, we're city girlies. We love our Netflix. We love our, you know, our
Yeah, you don't
comfort.
have to go so fucking deep, as in
Yeah.
5D, 7D, and
Yeah,
like
oh my God, consciousness and like ayahuasca ceremonies every
your
Thursday.
chakras are not balanced.
God, please, the energy's here. You can't handle my incense. It's not because it smells bad, it's because you have bad energy. Like, please.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have stayed very grounded throughout the entire
Yeah.
witchcraft deity work thing.
Yeah. What I
Very
wanted to
grounded.
say is like, yeah, you don't have to be Mother Teresa. You are the mission. Like, the mission of your life is to live the best life ever. Like, ultimately, that's what it is, you know? And it's not because you have the best car or you have the job that like everyone applauds you for. Oh my God, good girl. You literally did it. Like, no one fucking cares if you're feeling unfulfilled, empty, and dry as fuck, you know? Like, no, we want a juicy ass life. And you know, leaning into your spirituality, leaning into your intuition, and if you feel called to, having that extra support from your spirit team, whether that's your deities or your gods or your ancestors. Be careful with those. Those are intense. No, I'm just kidding. Never.
I mean, I've never worked with my ancestors
I
because I tapped
have.
into that energy once and it was so much. I was like, no, thank you.
Dude, yeah, like I literally I'm getting to that part of my book where I'm literally like starting that practice with my ancestors. I did it for like I think it was around 6 months. I was working with my ancestors. And now I'm looking back and I'm like, yeah, like I just took my grandpas from that package and like I work with them from time to time, like they're here from time to time. But yeah, like I remember that they were not happy when I started working with, especially Lucifer. They were like, "Oh my God, Lucifer, the fallen angel," and I was like, and honestly, like it's kind of funny now because I'm like, what do you mean? Like Lucifer's the best. Like I love him, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's a different kind of connection that you feel when you have that support and when you really resonate with the deity that you were working with as well. Because I work with many, but like nothing hits the most, like nothing hits like Lucifer and Hecate. And not to, have preferences, but like Lucifer is, Lucifer's
He's
my
our ride or die.
yeah, yeah. Lucifer's my ride or die for sure. Like I love Hecate, but it's more, I feel like it's more professional with her. It's more like, yeah, let's do this. And with Lucifer, I feel like I would snuggle with him if he was a person. Like I would literally, like I feel like I'm being held by him, and Hecate is more like, go, go.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's just it really is powerful when you lean into that. And I wanted to bring this to the podcast because it's not every day that I talk about it, but it's just been feeling so fucking alive for me to like lean into that. And ultimately I think that brings faith into your life. It's not just that you're connected to your intuition and now you have all the answers. It's like there's so much more faith, and I think that's very needed when you are doing this journey, because a lot of the times you don't fully know what's going to happen next. You don't fully know what's going to be on the other side of you surrendering. And so you need to have that faith that you are being supported, that you are being guided, that like it's not a coincidence that you suddenly had this calling. You're not fucking crazy. You don't need to like, go to whatever and be institutionalized. Like no, like there's a reason why you're feeling um those callings. And yeah, I think that level of faith has personally helped me so much in the past few months with like pretty much changing my entire life in business. Like it went from just feeling so fucking disconnected to finally starting to like really tap into my voice and like my authenticity. And then the thing is, this is not just for people who have businesses. Like in whatever area of your life, it's just really going to empower you. And this is when you start really like releasing all the bullshit and like leaving the things that don't serve you behind, cutting the cords for good, not just like, oh yeah, I'm cutting the cords energetically, but then like you continue to lean in. No, like this is really that the moment that you lean into this and you have that support and you also start trusting yourself to like trust those nudges, to trust that intuition, to trust the callings and those cues that you're receiving, it really makes you fucking unstoppable. And I think that's when you start creating the life that you truly want, and ultimately the life that maybe you never thought you could live, but it just kind of starts being brought to you instead of you starting like always having to chase for it. You're like you're just being, and then that is being built, just like yeah, suddenly it's here. Wow, I didn't even have to like I know that that's how you felt with your 10K. Like maybe before you had the 10K followers, like you thought, I'm gonna have to like work so hard and blah blah blah, blah and do
Mm.
like all this and like a messaging and suddenly it's like, oh wait, what the fuck? What do you
Yeah,
mean?
very true. Yeah, and I think that's just also the energy of alignment doing its thing because I'm tapped into alignment. And when you don't feel like you're in alignment and you don't have that little sense of harmony, whether it's in business or in your health or in your relationships, it's just really good to evaluate where you could potentially create a change, where you are having values that are misaligned. And even if you are not able to see that you are doing something that's actually not benefiting you, then your guides or your deities, which are both very capable of pointing out to you what you are doing, that's just not working. And that is a piece of guidance that you might need it to work for 90 days more. And it suddenly just all clicks and then you go back into alignment again.
Yeah.
And that is when it starts to roll. That's not to say that alignment caused me to have now over 10K followers, because I'm almost at 11. But it is to say that I followed my intuition and what excited me the most. And I showed up regardless of the results, because
Yeah.
there was a time where I only had 500, 600 followers. And not only I had a lot, but now I have much more because I am showing up for myself, and because I truly believe in the in deity work and how much it can help other people.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. I feel like we've covered so much and I don't want to like we've talked a lot as well. I was already expecting because you my bestie, so it just flows so naturally. But I really feel like we touched on a lot of important things, and I definitely want to invite everyone listening to go follow Lisa on Witchy Ways by Lisa on Instagram and TikTok, but definitely she's more on Instagram. Um, and ultimately, like if you're really feeling called to tap into that guidance, she is definitely your bitch. See, she is your witchy bestie to go to. Okay.
Yes, I am your witchy bestie. Also, I have a podcast called The Mindset Witch that you can listen to for all deity work advice, or just if you want to get into spirituality on the witchcraft side or deity work in general, then that can be the totally a good place for you to start. And yes, I am your witchy bestie. I'm here to make it a little bit more witchy and to help you out, figure a lot of things out. If you're like, I would really like to know which deity wants to work with me, I can do that too. But you can read about that all on my Instagram.
Yeah. Is there anything that you want to leave the girls with that you just feeling called to close this circle with?
Let me think. Is there anything that we should stop or close with? There was one thing I wanted to say, and it's if you are listening to so many podcasts and you're like, it's so cool what they all are doing, and you are just comparing yourself and you're like, I could never do that, challenge yourself and start the podcast. If you want
Okay.
to if you want to create your own business because you see other people have so much success, instead of your jealousy, turn it into something like action. Make a decision, create the action, and figure it out, because that step one creates an ultimate train of next steps that will lead you towards the biggest alignment that you want to be in or that you want to go into, because you are becoming the version of yourself that you are meant to be. And it doesn't even have to be as big as a podcast. It can be buying clothes that you see on other people that makes them look really confident. Try it on yourself. As long as you take fucking action, because jealousy, guilt, shame are all great indicators that you are not doing something that you really, really, really want to do. And you do not have to be an expert in order to start a podcast or to start a business or to talk about relationships or to work with deities. You need just a little bit of trust in yourself that you will figure it all out. People listen to other people talk shit for hours on podcasts. People sell bathwater and make millions because of it. I'm sure the fact that you're listening to BS podcast, you have something you're passionate about, something you can also talk about for hours that other people are willing to listen to too. We are not that different. We all have similar interests. I am talking right now here so much about mindset and spirituality, but on the flip side, I'm listening to comedians podcasts. I am listening
Basement
to
yard.
yeah, the basement yard. I listen to or I watch Twitch streamers play Sims 4. That helps me to relax and gain ideas for my Sims 4 too. That's not something very big, but it creates impact in someone's life and ultimately in your life, because you are finally turning the things that you haven't put into action in action. And you can never get the things that you want if you do not take action. Action, reaction. When you act, the universe reacts.
Woo! That was a perfect way to close this. And yeah, I just want to thank you for coming here and for sharing a little bit of your wisdom and your story. And for also like, I feel like I wanted to do this with you because I know I could talk about this topic by myself with my own experience, but I just knew it would be so much richer with you on it because of all the path that you've already done, everything that you've already been able to create for yourself. And ultimately, the confidence, the certainty, the security, the like abundance that you have gained into your life because of this work, like I knew it would inspire millions, whether they're listening now or in the future. Like I just know that this episode was so, so needed. And I just want to say thank you and that I really appreciate your piece of wisdom.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. You were actually part of my manifestation. So I'm very happy to. And
Yeah.
I hope it really helps you. And if you have any questions after the podcast or you just want to pick my brain about something, just feel free to jump into my Instagram DM or
Yeah.
BS.
And you can also drop in the comments here on Spotify or YouTube, whatever, hit you the most. What was the biggest takeaway? What you want to do next in terms of your spiritual practice, what you really feel called to do. Definitely drop it in the comments. Share it with your girlies. And girl, I'll see you in 3 days.
Oh my God, I'll see you in 3 days.
Oh my God, so excited.
Yes.
I love you, girl. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.